how your animals help you communicate with the nature realms. Blessings and peace, beloved. So I am continuing to go a little deeper into your relationships with the animals, birds, water beings, serpent beings, creatures within the nature worlds, as well as your beautiful domesticated animals, of which there are, of course, many. And indeed, I could do separate talks about each particular kind of being that you are drawn to, but I'm just speaking generally at the moment, just indicating a few gateways that you can open as you go about your day. It is a remarkable fact that your animals notice what you do in your day. They are very affected by what you do in your day. They are always trying to work out when you come and when you go, and how best to arrange themselves in relation to your human activity. Try to notice the way they are in that sense, and especially if you have an animal that totally depends upon you, that can't go outside. Some of you have animals that you live in the center of cities, and it's very hard for those animals until they get used to it, of course, and then they become accustomed to the fact that they are indoors with you. And so it matters a great deal then, does it not, how much you relate to your animals. So that is something I'm looking out into your world, and I'm seeing that is something quite particular when animals can't go into nature. Because that is what I want to talk to you about today, is the seamless correspondence between all the animals, birds, water beings, insect beings, serpent beings, all the beings with the natural world, with the earth, with the flowers and the trees, with all kinds of beings who dwell inside the earth. They belong to the earth or the water or the air. They belong to nature. Animals have a very simple, natural, wonderful ability to communicate with all the realms of nature. So I really recommend going outside, perhaps in your garden with your cat, your dog, or if you have a horse, go to sit in a field with your horse, or if you love a cow or a goat or a pig, or if you love an animal that lives out in nature, spend some time watching them, noticing their relationship with the land, with their environment. Each one is so individual. This life that each animal has chosen, or the birds, or the fishes and the dolphins and the whales and serpent beings, snakes, worms, all the little tiny creatures in the earth. Every life is evolving. So as you watch and feel and sense your animal friends, breathe and go into a deep place. Slow your breathing down. Do basically a kind of waking meditation where you bring yourself into altered state, into a theta state. Very still, very deep. It might not be that right then and there you notice anything, but what you are doing is you are giving the opportunity for the nature beings to permeate you with their essence. Sometimes it is just the divine aroma of roses, flowers, leaves, trees, or the pungent smell of the earth. And you realize there is energy in that. That's what the animals are absorbing. That's what they are so nourished by. If they can spend time in nature, they become replenished. They fill up on the chi. They are able to absorb energy from the earth, from the air, from the plants, from the flowers and trees. The truth is that so can you. But if you watch the way the animals are, then you realize, they are getting very, very close to the earth. They are going right down. They are smelling the earth. And just copy your animal for a moment. Smell the earth. Get right down like an animal. Use your hands. Scrape the earth and smell that aroma that comes up, that they love to smell. Breathe the air and you watch a bird. Feel yourself lift up and imagine the extraordinary freedom of being able to just lift up off the earth and fly so high and look down and see the earth below and experience the vastness of space that you can fly into. Watch that bird until you can't see it anymore and absorb the power of flight, the power of elevation and upliftment. Absorb the feeling of spacious freedom. When you watch a bee buzzing around your garden, going into a flower, imagine yourself to be that bee. Imagine that life. Feel what that bee is doing so intently, with such total dedication, concentration, focus. It's a really skilled job, what the bee does. I mean, you couldn't do it. Appreciate that bee. Look, so busy, working so hard. The bee is part of the great web of life, knows exactly what to do, and is really teaching you something about selflessness, about dedication, about being attuned and aligned to the source, having knowledge within that guides that bee to know exactly what to do. And of course, all of you know that the bees are having a really tough time. They are one of the greatest teachers. They have so much to bring. Their gifts are extraordinary. The honey that they make is an elixir and a healing food for humanity and all the animals. And of course, a vital food for themselves. So consider for a moment and see and weigh up the service, the divine service to life that the bee brings. And just have a little look at how you feel about your selfless service. Without judgment. It's not about judgment, but just listen and appreciate. And just take that into yourself. And really understand that is so important to receive that teaching. The teaching that comes from so many different animals who are literally expressing nature to you. They are telling you about the meaning of life. Watch all the insects buzzing around. Realize the wonder and the complexity of that web of life. Watch the fish jumping in the rivers. Out at sea, become aware of how the big fish eat the little fish. Become aware of the whole food chain going right back down to the plankton. In all the elements, nature is supreme, balanced, beautiful, and has much to teach you. And the animals are the transmitters of that wisdom. They are a bridge because they are sentient, because they do have a voice. They do express to you, but not in words. So that you have to open your heart. You have to listen with your guts, with your instinct, with your intuition, and so you can develop it. And you can follow the animals when they show you something about nature. They lead you to a beautiful place, or they show you some place that's hidden, that you are already in and you never saw it. Within you is a deep understanding of all of the animals, birds, snake beings, water beings, because through many lifetimes you have related especially to different species, either for your survival or because you love them, because they speak to you and bring you qualities you need in your life and have needed in other lives. And those are the spirit animals who come to you, those you have known before, worked with before, connected with before. They come to you in the dream time. They show you so much that you may have forgotten, but it's all inside you. And then, of course, the wild animals of nature. Next time you go walking, remember, they are all around you. And notice if you see one, because they will be telling you something. And don't always feel constricted by what's in the textbooks. Oh, yes, a rabbit jumped out, therefore I'm dealing with fear. You know, it's not always that simple. Feel what's inside you. Trust your own intuition. Listen deeply. That's what matters. Because your animals and the birds who are flying in the skies and alighting on the branches of the trees and alighting on the ground in front of you, and the little fox running across the field, and the fishes in the water of the rivers you walk by, and the invisible creatures crawling about everywhere upon the earth. They are all your allies, and they are all part of your most blessed life upon the earth. So have a wonderful time listening deeply to all your friends who dwell in the worlds of nature. Blessings and peace.